The question about trying ghosts is a question that people ask a lot. And one thing that's important to understand is that this trial, the Khmer Rouge trials, can only try people who are still alive.
There is not a Cambodian alive unaffected by Pol Pot. Like these two men, who've just spent the night in a Kratie hotel in the northeast of the country. Though the older man suffered terribly under the regime, and the younger man was a Khmer Rouge soldier, perhaps they were, or rather are, both victims. Tom Mana was 30 when his family was executed. He was imprisoned, tortured, lucky to escape with his life. As a Khmer Rouge boy soldier, who knows what atrocities Kong Barit was persuaded or forced to carry out? For years he hasn't talked about it. Like most Cambodians, he's pulled a shutter on his memory. Today, though, there's a chance that these two men might just open up about the nightmare that engulfed them and their country. Pol Pot forced Cambodia back to year zero. Money, schools, towns, families were abolished. Anyone not bending the knee was purged. A quarter of the population perished. The legacy today is grinding poverty, bemused numbness, an undercurrent of violence. But justice is coming. Pol Pot is dead, but the trial of others, allegedly also responsible for crimes against humanity, is approaching. That's why the event taking place in Kratie today is so important. It's one of a series of public forums. The aim is simple: to encourage sufferers and perpetrators to share their experiences under the regime of terror. This way, the revelations ahead may be less of a shock for the Cambodian people. The forums, created by the Centre for Social Development and held all over Cambodia, 6 a year for 3 years, will run parallel with the trial. A huge outreach program will spread the word to millions. Many in the international community support the enterprise. The Canadian ambassador, for example, was prominent and active at Kratie. But for now, everyone must be encouraged to speak out. There is much media interest. The BBC World Service and others covered Kratie, and this is likely to increase greatly as the trial date gets nearer.
We'd like to invite all of you come to your comfortable chairs.
Cambodians over 40 carry vivid memories of Pol Pot's 3-8-20, 3 years, 8 months and 20 days of a brutal reign. The older they are, the greater the scars and shadow under which they still live. The Khmer Rouge spared no one. Children, ethnic groups, monks were wiped out. The soothing word reconciliation may sound easy to embrace by those born before the horror. But old or young, Cambodia's population needs to unite in understanding of what happened and why it happened, to ensure it never happens again.
In July 1997, 30 years after the Vietnamese invaded Cambodia, the American Cònครัวซาខ្ញុំថាបប6នាក់នៅខេត្តកៅដល់មកខេត្តបច្ចេកទេសខ្ញុំជាប់គុកពូជដល់ឲ្យកូនអាយុ3ឆ្នាំអាយុ5ឆ្នាំអាយុ9ឆ្នាំហូបដល់អាយុ14ឆ្នាំចឹងសូមអង្គការវេទិកាដល់មានអធិបុលនឹងត្រឹមត្រូវយុត្តិធម៌សូមរកយុត្តិធម៌ខ្ញុំដូចជាលោកអៀងសារីឬក៏លោកខៀវសំផនក្តីជាបញ្ញវន្តមកពីស្រុកប្រាំងចុះនេះអស់ហ្នឹងចេះហើយមិនក៏មិនមកបម្រើខ្មែរបែរមកកាប់សម្លាប់ខ្មែរតើគាត់តែដែលមានទំនោរលទ្ធិដែលគាត់មកសាបមកដឹកនាំប្រទេសកម្ពុជាគាត់យកតាមប្រទេសណា
I just wanted to answer a few of the real specific questions. The question about trying ghosts is a question that people ask a lot. And one thing that's important to understand is that this trial, the Khmer Rouge trials, can only try people who are still alive. So in that way, perhaps the tribunal can serve people all over the world as well as those in Cambodia.
So, I mean, it must have been strange for you. You were a victim of the Khmer Rouge rule and then you had to fight with them. So what happened to you, and I mean, I know it's probably a long story, but briefly, what happened to you in the Khmer Rouge time?